بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين وحبيب رب العالمين. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to grant us all the sincere intentions. We were speaking about the sins of the different body parts. The scholars mentioned that one of the sins of the body is for a female to, if she leaves the house wearing an apparent perfume, to intend, now this is the sinful part, if she goes out of the house wearing an apparent perfume, because there are some perfumes that aren't very apparent, it's just that a person themselves can smell them. If she goes out wearing apparent perfume with the intention to lure men, with the intention to entice men, then this is a sin of the body. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned this particular type of woman, and he said, أَيُّمَا امْرَأَةٍ, any woman, خَرَجَتْ مُتَعَطِّرَةً, who exits outside, who goes outside, fragranced, having applied al-'itr. فَمَرَّتْ بِقَوْمٍ, and so she passes by a group of people, a group of men. Now this is the important part. لِيَجِدُوا رِيحَهَا. Why does she do that? So that they would literally find her fragrance, so that they would be able to smell her fragrance. This is her intention, to entice them. فَهِيَ زَانِيَةٌ. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned that she is a zaniya, which means that she is someone who has committed a sin, that this is a sinful matter. This is because al-mar'atu amruha mabniyun ala tasattur, meaning that the matter of the female, the situation of the female should be one where she is very modest, because a lot of problems occur when females are not modest. This is because because Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentioned وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, and some said that it means literally it means that people were created weak in general, but some scholars said it means that men in general have been created weak when it comes to women. A lot of men, they would be lured by their desire, they would be enticed, they would be seduced, and so on. This is one of the wisdoms why a woman, when she goes outside, she covers herself, even her hair. She also covers her hair and other parts of her body, because the Prophet ﷺ mentioned kullu aynin zaniya, which literally means every, but it means most. Most eyes, they look the forbidden look, which is what? Which is for a marriageable male to look at a marriageable female with desire, whether it's out of the corner of his eye when nobody else is looking, or out in the open when everybody is looking, or to look at her face with desire. All of this is considered haram. As so if someone was to look at her face without desire, then this is not haram. But the Prophet ﷺ said that most men will do that. Most men will do that. So this is a weak point when it comes to many men. And the Prophet ﷺ also mentioned that that this nation will be tested. And he mentioned in various numbers of hadith certain matters. And in one hadith, he mentioned that the fitna for this ummah, the fitna meaning the test, okay? A test for them, a lot of the men of this ummah is the women, because of their beauty, because many women will not cover properly, and so on. It doesn't mean here that, as some people like to portray, that women are fitna, meaning what some people understand in for example, the Urdu language. Fitna, they understand it to be a something bad, like to say such and such is fitna, meaning such and such is an abomination. Such and such is a bad thing. No, Al-Islam does not say that women are bad. Al-Islam does not say that women are bad. There are women that are more pious than millions and millions and millions of men, like Lady Maryam, and so on. There are women who are more knowledgeable than hundreds and hundreds and thousands of men when it comes to the rules of the religion. وَالْعِبْرَةُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ بِالتَّقْوَى وَإِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. And the best of us are those that are most fearing of Allah, meaning the ones that acquire the religious knowledge, and many a times that would be a woman, and many a times it would be a man. So a lot of times it would be a man, and there are lots of times when it would be a woman, where she would acquire the religious knowledge and then for herself stay away from the haram and perform all of the obligations. So men and women, when it comes to doing the good deeds, staying away from the haram and acquiring reward and elevating to those, ascending to those high ranks, in this, men and women are equal in this. Otherwise, women, for example, give birth, men don't give birth, and so on. There are differences, but in this matter, when it comes to acquiring reward and staying away from haram and gaining a high rank, men and women are equal in that. So, as for this hadith, it mentions that the Prophet ﷺ, he is showing a weak point in many men where they would be enticed by such a thing, but then also the intention of the female. The intention of the female, if she has this intention that she's going to apply fragrance to try to get their attention so that they would look the sinful look at her with desire, then of course she would fall into haram. Of course she would fall into haram. The female, if she goes out of her house wearing perfume, then it depends what type of perfume it is. It shouldn't be one that's that can be smelt from far away. Rather, if it's one that is known as like light perfume, she can smell it, then that is obviously not haram. But even that, it wouldn't be, from what I recall, not even makruh. As for the one that is more apparent, then that would be makruh. That would be disliked. Someone might say, well, she just wants to go out to smell nice. Okay, but she can smell nice to herself. It's because of what it causes. She might not be a bad person per se, but it's because of what it causes. It's because of what it does. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-mar'atu idha kharajat istashrafaha ash-shaytan." That if a woman leaves her house, then look, she might be amongst the awliya. She might be a waliya. She might be a very, very high-ranked woman amongst the Muslim women. But the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-mar'atu idha kharajat, if a woman leaves her house, then the devil istashrafaha, meaning he does this. Like to say he focuses, like when you want to focus on something and you look at it like this, he focuses really hard, because it is through a lot of women that he can trap many men. Now, that doesn't mean that that woman per se, she is someone bad. Do you see what I mean? She might be a very good person. She might be performing all the obligations, staying away from the haram, but it's because of the weakness of some men or many men that they would fall, and the devil would try to inject things into their mind, whisper to them and so on, and say to them, look, and why don't you look, and isn't she beautiful, and isn't she so on and so on. And so you see what I'm saying? So it's not the woman herself who is at fault. A woman, for example, she might be covered, she might even cover her face, and still the devil, he would whisper to some men. So it's not the female who is bad per se. Otherwise, yes, there are some females, just as there are some males that are bad. So that's important to note. That is important to note. The next sin of the body that we're going to speak of is a sihr. A sihr, also known as, in English, yes, magic or sorcery. All of magic is a sin. All magic is a sin. The very least degree, or let's say the severity of the sin is that it would be a major sin. That is the least. So a sihr is a major sin at the very least, and it might be kufr also. So firstly, magic is something that we, the Muslims, do not and should not get involved in. Likewise, remember what we said, what's haram upon us is haram upon on other people. It's not permissible to say, oh, well, we're Muslims, right? So we can't do haram, but, find a non-Muslim for us who can do something for us. Find a non-Muslim who can drive, for example, my mother-in-law out, or drive or find a non-Muslim person who can do such and such so his business crashes, and so on. Magic exists. Magic exists, just as a nazar, which is the evil eye, al-ain, exists. These things exist without a doubt. We do not doubt about them. Why? Because they were revealed to Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Their existence and their occurrence was revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So we have no doubt about them. Now we also know that magic is haram. Okay? Whether one wants to do it to make somebody like them, to make somebody love them, to make someone be distant from them, to make someone, so to speak, vanish, to ruin things between a husband and a wife, to ruin things between two brothers, two friends, because the person is jealous, and so on and so forth, for revenge. All of this is haram. Okay? There's no, let's say, white magic. There's no good magic. All of it is haram. Even if somebody has magic done on you, but here there's another point. How would you know? That's the thing that I'll come to soon. Okay, it's about, the mentality of people. So even if someone thinks that they've had magic done on them, it's not permissible for you to reciprocate that magic with magic. So if someone has magic, for example, done on you, then you're not allowed to say that, they did jadoo on us, so we're going to go do jadoo on them. They afflicted us with magic in some way, so we're going to go do it on them. No, it's not like that. It's not here in this case. It's not like an eye for an eye. They did it to us, so we'll do it to them. No, it's not permissible. Secondly, look, don't be in this frame of mind of, if you get a toothache, oh, someone's doing magic on me. Or if, I don't know, your eye starts to flicker sometimes, okay, that, oh, it must be a jinn. Or if your hair starts falling out, okay, and your hairline starts receding, you say, oh, it might be magic. Look, face the facts, you're getting old. All right, that's one thing. Or you're eating some, it's a side effect to a type of food. You need to control your diet. You're not getting enough exercise, and so on. It could be hundreds of things. Why is the first thing that comes to some people's mind magic? Why? If you are reciting, when Al-Fajr comes in, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ thrice. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ thrice. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ thrice. And you're regularly reciting Ayatul Kursi, and also at Al-Maghrib, the same thing. Then, if you continue doing that, and you recite Ayatul Kursi a lot, okay, then you will not be affected by magic, insha'Allah. Our teachers mentioned that if you continue reciting Ayatul Kursi, if you recite it a lot throughout the day, then even if someone had done magic and they tried to renew it, they would not be able to. It would be invalidated. It would be abolished. It would not be. They would not be able to initiate it. Okay, so it's important for a person to stay in this frame of mind, or to not be in the frame of mind of, maybe it's magic. Maybe that person did it. No. Maybe that person did. Oh, I remember the way they were looking at me. I remember what they said to me. I remember that, that hint, that twang at the end of their, tease, when the way they say that word, I'm skeptical. This, you know what it builds? It builds a culture of waswas. It builds a culture of waswas. Waswas meaning like whisperings. Shakshukuk, as they say. There you go. Okay? Just hit the nail on the head. Okay? This is what it causes. And is that healthy for you? That's not healthy for you. If it's going on between you and your brothers and your sisters and their families and your families, and if there's already infighting, and then suddenly, oh, magic. And then someone dies. Imagine someone dies. Now that, it might be said, is like the worst thing that could happen. Someone dies, and then some non-intelligent person, let's keep it safe, some non-intelligent person says, ina berjadu ni siya. Or they'd say, for example, oh, maybe it was magic. And then that person's died now. You know, when a person dies, that's it. You can't dig them up and say to them, look, was it magic or not? Just come clean. You can't do that. So when you inject these ideas within the community, then everybody's, on the shakshukuk, as they say. Everybody's. So you don't want to pass this culture onto children. Okay? So this is something that, yes, it exists. We're not saying magic doesn't exist. But if you continue reciting and being safe and so on, you've got nothing to worry about. Insha'Allah ta'ala, nothing will happen. Whatever Allah willed to be shall be. There's no doubt about that, okay? And we have been given measures by which we can protect ourselves. So just take those measures and live a happy life, okay? Don't get too into maybe it's this person, maybe it's that person, because that also, remember, you're not allowed to think ill of someone. You're not allowed to think ill of a Muslim unless you have a perfectly valid excuse, a religiously valid and considerable excuse, not something that you think is an excuse. Anyway, all magic is haram. At the very least, it's a major sin. Some magic is also kufr. Okay? Some magic is also kufr. Now, what you need to remember is that Al-Quran does not have a part to play in magic at all. The Quran does not have a part to play in magic. Anybody who says that the Quran is used in magic, he's a kafir. There are no two ways about it. Kafir. The Quran, kalamullah. Okay? It is blessed. The Quran is good. It is khair. It is blessed. It has an ali maqam. To say that this Quran, which is actually something you use to get rid of magic, right? You recite Ayatul Kursi, you recite Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Al-Falaq, Al-Nas, to get rid of magic. To say that the Quran, or part of the Quran, or a verse of the Quran, or the name of Allah is used while they get materials and they mix them up and they blow on things and they get, water and so on and other dirty things, and to make magic and put it in a bottle and get someone to drink it or bury it in the grave, or all, to say that you write an ayah, that people write an ayah of the Quran and you put it in there and that helps the magic, helps this evil. A'udhu billah min al-kufr. Who would say that? Where's that coming from? This is twisted. I'll tell you something else that someone told me, subhanallah. And it was in obviously I won't say where, but it was in a, how can you say, like an Islamic, let's say, an Islamic institution. Somebody told the children that, wal-'iyadhu billah, alhamdulillah that we have our teachers and, that are trustworthy and reliable teachers who we can go to and that teach and that, teach in our madrasas, for example. But in some other places, I'll give you an example. There was a place that a child that attended, may Allah Ta'ala protect him, he told me that our ustaz, whoever that was, I won't mention his name, he said to us that, and this is actually, if he said it in this way, it would be kufr. He said that, he said to the children that if you go to, I think he said the graveyard, and you recite, and before I mention this actually, all the Quran is blessed. The Quran is blessed. Okay? So, and you can't say that, oh, this is a bad part of the Quran. A'udhu billah, it's kalamullah. How would you say it's bad? A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah min sharri iblis. So this person, it was reported to me that this person said, from a person who was actually in the gathering, this child, he said to us that, if I'm not mistaken, if you go to the graveyard in the night and you recite Suratul Jinn, I don't know how many times, then all these bad things happen, or these jinn, or maybe something to do with magic. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. And this person is, at that time, Allahu Alam about now, he might have even died. He was teaching these children. Now, this is a kufr statement. So imagine some of those children that were not children, they were pubescent. Imagine they were pubescent. If they'd believed that because Suratul Jinn, what a beautiful surah it is. When some of the jinn heard the Quran and they were amazed by it. And when the Quran started to be revealed, they used to go up and try to listen to what the angels are saying in the skies, but they were blocked off. And then they would find like fireballs being shot at them. So this is what is being said in the Quran, in Surah Al-Jinn, a beautiful surah, subhanallah. How would somebody say, you go to the graveyard, recite it 4 times and like magic happens or bad things happen? A'udhu billah min al-kufr. Which Muslim would accept that? So imagine those children there that were those people that were pubescent there. Had they believed that, they would have committed kufr. Their parents sent them to learn, to somebody to learn. Obviously, this person was an ignoramus, and he taught them what is kufr. And if they believed it, they went back home as kuffar. Wal-'ayadhu billah. Wal-'ayadhu billahi ta'ala. So the Quran does not play any part in producing magic. If someone has sihr done on them, what do? You recite Quran to get rid of it. Okay? Sometimes, some of the shayateen and some of the sahara, some of the sorcerers, the magicians, what they do is they'll make their magic and they'll put it in a bottle, or they will bury it and so on. And then because they're evil, because they are shayateen, what they will do is, what do they want? They want people to sin. They want people to commit major sins. They want people to commit kufr. What they will do is, they themselves, when they've done their magic, they've finished the magic thing, they'll write a verse of the Quran like on a piece of paper, and they'll put it near the magic. Or they might even put it like next to the magic, okay? So that other people come and see it and they'll say, the Quran is part of magic. And then hence they would commit kufr. Do you see how that is? Do you see how? So the shayateen, they're very tricky in this sense. I'll give you another example. Some people came to Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, and they said to him, Ya Ibn Abbas, there was a man who had a demon in him, a man who had a jinn in him. And a Jew, okay, who believes that Allah, the Jews believe that Allah is like a man sitting on a throne, okay? So having an upper, bottom, a front side, a back side, and everything. So they said to him, Ibn Abbas, explain this to us. This Jewish person, he came along to a person who was possessed. And the Jewish person started to say things, started to mumble things, which you would think that he's saying things that are kufr, okay? Not things that are honorable and respectable and so on. And they said to him, so these are bad things that this Jewish person was saying. But look how the devils trick people. So they said to Ibn Abbas, when he started to recite, obviously these things are not blessed, they're horrid and dark. They said when the Jew started to recite, the jinn came out. So they said to Ibn Abbas, what's that about? How? Ibn Abbas said, this is a trick. The jinn, this person, he wants people to commit kufr. He goes inside the person. When the Jew comes to read on him, he's not affected at all. He's not affected by that. But he comes out by himself, not because he's burning or hurting. He comes out by himself, so that the people that look around, they say, oh, this Jew, look what he did. And like to say, oh, he must be, as though they would say, he must be on the truth. Maybe the words that he was saying were blessed. And then they would believe that those words are blessed, when in actual fact they might have been kufr, and then by that they would commit kufr too. And for this devil, what would he think? He would think, look, that's for me a job well done. I got someone to commit kufr.